Sales of Honda's only American EV have skyrocketed by a staggering 963%. That's not just for a month, that's for the entire first 6 months of this year. Hello, my friends. Thanks for supporting electric cars. I appreciate your support this year. If you can like this video and subscribe, it will help me to continue to make electric car videos. Total brand sales for Honda top 670,000 through the first half of this year. However, the fastest growing car for Honda in terms of sales worldwide for the last 10 years is an electric car. Honda saw its sales increase in the United States through the first 6 months of the year, and sales data shows that some of the brand's long-standing models are still selling relatively well, even though they're pretty average. Not selling well in other countries, I should mention, but they are in the US. But some newer additions to the Honda range have been selling incredibly well. The Honda Prologue, well, they sold a total of 2,800 in June alone. That was an increase of 237% from the 830 sold in June of 2024. But if you look at year-to-date sales for the Honda Prologue EV, which, by the way, I should mention is basically made by General Motors, there has been a 963% increase from 1,500 sold in the first 6 months of last year to 16,300 in the first half of 2025. That's staggering. 1,500 to 16,300. Now imagine if Honda, right, GM's tech is decent. It's decent. You know, it's not bad. It's not awesome. Imagine if Honda made a really good EV, they developed EVs, maybe made something like Zeekr or Xpeng or Xiaomi, even BYD. Imagine if they used one of those EVs, right? One of those real high-tech 500 kilowatt plus charging, 700, 800 kilometers of range, 400, 500 miles of range. Imagine that's what they were selling. I mean, they're not. It's all right. It's a GM. It's not bad, but imagine if it was. That sales increase of 963% could be like 10,000%. Anyhow, that's not possible, of course, because it's the US and you've blocked Chinese electric cars and technology. Anyway, the Prologue is selling incredibly well compared to the same period last year. But guys, I should mention its best sales month was actually November of last year, which is crazy, because Honda sold 6,823 Prologues in the US in November of last year because they saw this new model and were like, that's cool, I want one of those. Now, what other cars are selling well for Honda? Well, sales of the Honda Passport, which is internal combustion, but anyhow, they've done well, 4,400 sold in June, which is growth of 67.7%. Yeah, that's a decent rise, pretty good rise. Year-to-date sales are up 66%, so well done to Honda on that model. Honda's Odyssey is doing okay. That sales of that car are up about, I believe, 38%. But in total, looking at Honda this year in the US, their sales have grown 7% to 670,000. I would say, though, that Honda would be hoping that they can continue to increase their sales in the United States, considering the fact that their car sales in China are dropping like a rock. Yeah, that's a big problem because the Chinese car market is literally twice the size of America's car market. It's massive. And if your sales are dropping like a rock in China and your sales in the US only increased by 7%, you've got to do something, right? You've got to do something. Otherwise, you're going to have to start closing factories like Volkswagen and Nissan and all the other legacy automakers. Anyhow, all that said, really encouraging, good to see Honda's sales for the Prologue increased by 970%. And maybe Honda onto something. I mean, imagine if Honda had some other EVs and their sales could be up by 500+% too. What are your thoughts, guys? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Honda's sales have collapsed in China. China is the most important car market in the world for Honda. The Chinese car market's around 31 to 32 million cars. It's twice the size of the United States car market, but it's very profitable. Well, it used to be. Anyway, hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. In February this year, electric car sales in China grew by 95%. That is a fact coming from the Chinese government, 95%. And if you look at the car sales figures, it actually adds up. It makes sense. BYD, Xiaomi, everyone, Tesla, Zeekr, XPeng, their sales have all gone up of their electric car sales. Plug-in hybrid sales grew by 53%. EV sales grew by 95%. Huge difference, right? Plug-in hybrid still very popular, going up clearly. EVs much more popular. And Honda's gone, well, okay, well, we've been sitting around on the sidelines watching this happen for years. Well, we better do something about it. Honda has slashed its gasoline engine production. It'll close some factories, I'm sure, in China after sales have collapsed to focus on making more electric cars. Honda had a very difficult year in China last year. Sales dropped by a staggering 31% to 852,000 units. That was the first time in 9 years that Honda has sold less than 1 million cars. The first time in 9 years it sold less than 1 million, and it wasn't just under 1 million. It was under 1 million by 150,000. 31% is what I think is fair to say free fall. And based on the first couple of months of this year, looking at the car sales in China, about 56% of all cars sold were electric. So I'm going to guess Honda's sales have gone down even more this year. Pretty big issue when you consider the fact that this is Honda's most important market in the world. The decline is partly attributed to increased competition from local companies, better products, cheaper prices, and reduced demand for internal combustion engine vehicles. In response, Honda is halving production at an engine plant in Guangdong province and shifting its focus more aggressively towards EVs. Last year, new energy vehicles in China, comprising EVs and plug-in hybrids, accounted for around, by the end of the year, it was nearly 53% of all cars sold. And one of the biggest beneficiaries of this, well, it's pretty clear BYD. They sold around 3.83 million cars. And 4 or 5 years ago, BYD sold 420,000 cars. So they've gone from basically 10 times the number of sales because they're focused on EVs and plug-in hybrids. That is, technically actually 8.5 times. So pretty close, not far off being 10 times. Honda will close a manufacturing line at its Dongfeng Honda engine factory at the end of this month. It's just not selling enough cars with engines in them to keep on making these engines. This move will halve the annual production capacity of its internal combustion engines in China, reducing them from 520,000 units to around 260,000 units. In January, Honda ended production at a joint venture plant with Guangzhou Automobile Group that had an annual capacity of 240,000 cars. So it shut down a factory making 240,000 cars. Now imagine if Tesla did that.